Hello to all my lovely YouTube viewers. I'm finally sitting down to record a new episode. I'm very happy to be able to find the perfect day to do that. And I hope you have settled down with your knitting or crocheting or whatever crafting you are doing or busy with, and a nice cup of tea or coffee or wine, because I think I've got an FO parade today. So we will see what I have time for to show you, but I'm going to try my best to do it all correctly and not make the same mistakes that I make every time. I'm really working hard on that. There's some things that I'm not able to change, but the things that I can work on, I'm really trying. I think you all know me by now. I'm Adela and I live in Pretoria in South Africa, where it is full on summer. I was actually thinking for a few days now that I will try and do an episode today, but then I looked on the weather forecast and they said it's going to rain, 70% chance of rain. And then when it's overcast, it's not that the lighting is not very good. I do not use that recording lights because I wear glasses. Any lights will reflect on my glasses, and I'm not sure if all the viewers would necessarily be comfortable with that. So I'm always trying to do it on a very sunny day so that the lighting is more or less okay. And as you know by now, I do not do any changes to my recording. There's nothing special about my recordings. I just like to talk to you and show you what I do and then upload it to YouTube. And that is that. So it's me, all natural. Yes, and so when I looked again today, they said the rain will only start late afternoon, 70% chance of late afternoon thunderstorms. So let's hope. That would be very nice to have some lovely rain. But that's enough. I'm really trying not to talk about the weather on my episodes. I'll rather show you what I'm doing. So as you know by now, I knit, I crochet, I weave, I apply yarn. Sometimes I dye a little bit of yarn. Anything yarn related is my passion. So I think I will start right off with stuff that I've finished, and I've got 3 pairs of socks to show you. I don't know how that happened. Well, it has been over a month. The one pair was in my car. It was my on-the-go project. It was in my car for quite a few months, and I just decided to sit down and finish them. And the other pair was I was busy with last time that I showed you, and the one pair you haven't seen nothing of it yet. So the pair that I showed you last time that I was busy with is this that I did in the Knottyhabit twinsies. I think I showed them to you in the previous episode. I broke up 2 sets of twinsies, and I shared that with one of my very close yarny friends. and she already knitted a pair with hers, and I decided to do mine in this way. The recipe for how I did it is on my Facebook page, Yarn Creations. It's very easy actually, but I started it with 66 stitches, and I did a twisted rib, and then 2 row stripes, and a heel flap, heel turn and gusset, and I changed the colors around, and then just my very favorite umbrella toe. The umbrella toe is Kay Jones' signature toe. And the one thing that I find out with this, I've thought about it for a while, but it happened accidentally because I had 37, yeah, I had 37 stitches on the back needle and 37 stitches on the front needle. So for the heel flap, I had 37 stitches. Normally you will, not 37, 33, sorry, 33 on both of the needles. Normally you will have 32 stitches for your heel flap on the back needle. Now I had 33, and that resulted that both sides of my heel flap looks exactly the same. Normally your second stitch, when you start, your will be a slip one, knit one, slip one, knit one for the slip stitch heel flap. And when you're finished on the other side of the row, you will have a slip one, knit one. So on the one side, your second stitch will be a knit stitch, and on the other side, your second to last stitch will be a slip stitch. But if you have 33 stitches on your for your heel flap, you can do slip, slip, knit one, slip one, and then your second stitch on both sides will be a slip stitch. And well, that's just a minor detail of perfectionism that we sometimes all suffer from. So there you can see that they are now on both sides the same. And I like that. I like to, it just gives you a little kick of happiness, and why not? That's why we knit. And if we can tweak a minor detail to give you more happiness while you're knitting, because it's not always just about the end product for me. I'm definitely a process knitter, and I like to um, give some thought to the little details in anything, and that makes me happy when it's almost perfect. And then I just did my normal decreases. I've told you before that most of the time I change them around. The side where you do a SSK, I do a knit two together, and then on the other side where you do the knit two together, I do the SSK. It gives me a neater little line here, and the extra decreases I do below, underneath the foot. So that's that pair of socks. And then maybe before I show the other socks, I should give some very, how can I say it? I must let the focus light fall on what I'm wearing, actually. That should have been the first thing I talk about. This is my Wild Roses tea, and I haven't even started it last time I made an episode. I used Illimani Sabri. It's an imported cotton with 15% baby alpaca, so organic cotton. So it's very, very soft. I bought it from TheYarnroom here in Pretoria, and well, it's just, I can't tell you how lovely it feels, how lovely it drapes, how good I feel in it. I think that's the main reason why I'm knitting so many wearables. I feel so good when I'm wearing it, and I feel so, it feels so luxurious, and so I feel so accomplished that I've knitted this and it fits me perfectly, because I try it on a lot. So um, I'm not, I'm always in between sizes when I buy something. So now I can make some minor changes. I think we've got a little visitor today. I can make some minor changes so that it fits my body, as I've spoke to you many times before about. You want to say hello? Want to be on the video? Say hello. She it's actually funny that she's around me now, because she can disappear for the whole day. I don't know where she is. She's got spots in the garden, favorite spots in the garden. I think nice, cool, shady spots where she preferred to sleep. Okay, what was I talking about? My wild roses. The pattern is by Knitting for Breakfast. Is their name on Instagram and on Ravelry, I think. Here you can see a picture of it. It's wild roses, and it's, yeah, Knitting for Breakfast. The pattern says 3.5 millimeter. I use the 3.25 millimeter because I don't know, I just preferred the fabric with a 3.25 millimeter needle. And of course, there's no short rows in the pattern. I added, I think, 3 sets of short rows just in the back up to here. And then I didn't do much different. I did do increases. I decided to do to do 6 increases in a row every I think 12 rows. So I did increases here and 1 on each side, and then the same spots at the back, because this lace pattern is a 9 stitch repeat. So I just worked it out. I need more or less so many stitches, and if I do 6 by 6 increase rows, then I will have the fit, the same fit at the bottom as that I will have here. And I think it worked out quite well. The lace is a really, really easy repeat. It's 4 row repeat, of which 2 rows are just knit rows. And so it's just in 2 rows that you do, and it's just yarn over and knit two together and is scale whatever. So it's really, really easy. And you get into a rhythm. And when you have done your first row of the lace stitch pattern, and you know how to read your knitting, the rest is just, you can see where you have to do your stitch pattern. So it's really, really easy. And this little panel here is just garter bumps that forms the pattern. And that was also very easy to do. And yes, I'm very, very happy with the pattern. Tells you to alternate the 2 colors in the sleeve, but I really didn't want to do that, so I did it only in the second color, in the pink color. I used at the end, I used 1 skein for the natural color, and a little bit more than 1.5 skein for the pink. So the colors, I used color 81, that's a natural, and color 45, that is the pink color. I think everything is the wrong way around, and I think it's got something to do because I don't film with a camera. I phone with my Samsung phone, and I think it's something to do with selfie mode or whatever. So, but, well, it's yeah, it's a organic cotton and baby alpaca, and there's 400 meters on a 100-gram skein. So you can actually get very far with the amount of yarn, and it knits. It washed beautifully. It knits like a dream. So I'm really very happy with it. And I've got a few half skeins, half balls left. I wove a scarf, I think somewhere in the beginning of the year, with 2 other skeins that I had. And now I've got a little bit of the pink left, and I've got a dark grey, and then those 2 natural balls. That's not a lot left, but I've got some left, and I think I can easily get another summer top out of it. So I'm looking forward to knitting that. So that is then my wild roses that I'm very, very happy with. Really very happy with. Okay, so now let's get on with the other socks. This is a pair of socks I knit out of a new dyer, and it's a man, and that is why the colors are so bright. That's all I can think why. He's not afraid of using color for socks, and that makes me happy. And I immediately thought that I really need some of these nice bright colored yarns to knit up some bright socks. I also put the recipe on my Facebook page for what I've done here. It's a 1x1 rib. It's also 66 stitches, I think, 1x1 rib, and then a 5x1 for the leg, and they are actually quite reversible. So I knit the whole sock with this on the outside, so that I don't have to pull that much, so that I can knit 5, pull 1. And then I did a variation on the strong heel. So I took that pull stitch down and a pull stitch in the middle, and then on the other side as well. What I would like to do next time is to bring the pull stitch down. Definitely those ones will on the back stitches will go up to here, and then the front ones I can take them right down. I could have done that, but you know, when you don't have a pattern, you're not always. And I did rip back quite a few times to because I didn't have a pattern, and I didn't actually know what I was doing or where I was heading with this socks. But I like them, and I like the fact that they are reversible. And then I turned it inside out to knit the toe. And then you must just be mindful where you darn in your ends, so that it doesn't show on either side. You can wear them like this, or you can wear both like this, or you can wear both like this. So that was fun. I love this yarn. It's Big Fox yarns, and this was a jewel bug colorway. So that's pair number 2. Luckily, I've got a lot of sock blockers, thanks to Mr. and Mrs. Knotty. The final pair is the pair that was in my car. That was my on the go knitting, and this was done with an opal, frische Vriende. I don't know how you pronounce it. It's German. And I think I managed to make twin socks. This is also opal. I'm not sure. I don't have the color or the label with me at the moment, but this is this opal solid color. And then I just kept on with the toe. I did stop where there was a change in the color so that I can do the heel flap, so that it looks quite neat. I knitted a 2x2 rib, and when this color was done, I started with the sock. I think it's got 60 rows, and funnily enough, the second sock I could only knit 59 rows before I was on the same spot. But that's also okay. Nobody will notice. And the same gusset decreases. And I think this is a pretty colorway. Oh, I can give you the colorway. It's 9767. I'm not sure if it's still available. I think I bought it from Scheepjes online last year. You know, I started knitting socks just when the first lockdown started, and when things when we went to a level where they could send out some yarn again, I urgently had to order some opals to knit some more socks and to be ready if there's another lockdown. So this was one of my lockdown purchases for socks. I bought quite a lot of sock yarn last year when I got into sock knitting. You know, this is not a good idea. I need those stuff to show. You can't sit on it. I know you do like my wool, but you can't sit on it. Let me just show it to everyone, and then you can use it. So that is the socks, all of them. Sorry, I don't think she actually understands English. But that's also okay. If I talk Afrikaans, then some of you won't understand. So what I can show you as well is all the weaving that I've done quite a lot. One thing I've done is a scarf. The warp is the 4-ply 100% merino fingering. It's this dark teal color I hand dyed myself, and the other color is from Knottyhabit. And I wove with several other weft in the same 4-ply fingering, and I just couldn't get it to look the way I thought it should. So then I had a Wishbone mohair silk in my stash that I used, and I just used that doubled up for the weft. And what I like is that you can still see the lovely speckles in the warp from the Knottyhabit yarn. You can see it clearly, and I do like that a lot. I haven't even put a photo on Instagram yet for this. I should really do that. And it's funny how most of the speckled colors is on the one side, but I like that. It looks like I warped with two different yarns, but I warped only with the one light color from, I can't remember the color. I don't always keep the labels. Sorry, Mincy. You will probably know exactly what color it is. And of course, mine doesn't have any names. But this is really, it's very soft, and you know, as you can see, it's long and quite wide for a scarf, and you can make a small bundle in your hands. That is how soft and light and airy it is. So this is really fun to do the scarves, and it's so quick. And I don't know if you remember, I have to put everything now on this side so that she doesn't go and make herself comfortable on them again. The panels I wove, last time I show you that I wove 2 panels with one of a kind yarns, the 2-ply super twist merino, and I decided to warp for a 3rd panel, but I didn't have any of those yarns left that I used for the first 2 panels. So I had to juggle a lot with colors, and sorry, I've got a hair somewhere. I had to juggle a lot to try and find the same color combination that will match with those other 2 panels. And a lot of unweaving happened because the warp you can't change. If you warped, you've warped, then you must do something with it. So, but you can, if your weft doesn't look right, the combination of the weft and the warp, you can always unweave. So you just weave, but in reverse. And that's a slow, irritating process, but if it has to be done, it has to be done. But the overall effect, I'm actually quite happy with it. I stitched them together, and now I've got quite a big throw. And here you can see where I hand stitched them together. And I think it looks quite neat on both sides. So I'm very happy. It was a slow process, and I did put some extra knots on every little tassel, extra knot with my hand here, and I've cut them quite short. And I'm really, really happy. That is more or less, if I bring it closer like this, that is more or less the colors. True presentation of the colors. So because I didn't have variegated yarns that will give you the same effect that I got for the first 2 panels. I had to really, so this middle panel is quite different, but I think overall it does fit in quite well. And it's, yeah, it's a very nice size. I think it will fit on a single bed or a nice big throw. There you can see the colors. That's also quite a true presentation. And you can see that's quite big, but it's not heavy at all. Look how I can just bundle it up in my hands without any effort. I haven't weighed it yet, but I think it's very interesting how the weaving compares to knitting and crochet regarding the weight and the size. If you weave a blanket, you knit a blanket, and you crochet a blanket of the same size and then weigh them, that will actually be a very, very interesting comparison. But the woven throw will definitely win the weight contest, definitely. So that's, I'm really happy. I washed it in my washing machine and it dried quite quickly, and it feels, of course, lovely, and it's not heavy. So even in cooler summer days, you can throw it over you when you're comfortable on the couch or whatever, and there's a cool breeze and you don't have a very heavy warm blanket on you. So I'm very happy with the end result of this. Sorry for showing it, because this is actually the first time. I have tried so many times to take pictures of this to put it on Instagram, but I just can't get the colors captured. And when it's like this, you can really see the true colors. So I'm thinking of maybe I should do a short video clip showing it like this to put onto Instagram. But I always feel that, you know, everyone is welcome to watch my YouTube channel and to see what I'm doing, and to hear my explanation of what I'm doing. So that's why I'm not always worried if I don't show everything on Instagram. You are my special tribe, and I will show everything to you. Okay, so you can have the blanket now. I'm finished. I'm done with it. And if you remember correctly, I said that I'm going to Remwigte for a weaving workshops with Glennisbrook. And I thought that I would podcast soon after, but I didn't. But here I am. And what we did is some weft faced weaving. So that is where you the warp is totally covered by the weft yarn. So the warp is the yarns that you first take around a peg or on a warping board. You warp the yarns and you tie them to the back of the loom and you wind them up, and then the weft is the yarn that you are weaving with through those warp yarns. And firstly we did the plain 2 shaft up and down weft dominant weaving. So this was my first little samples. As you can see, I'm not going to do anything about the ends. This is just samples for me. So it's very interesting to see what you have to do, and you have to beat the yarns quite heavily so that they totally cover the so we warped with a thin cotton from Standerton mills. I think that's about the only cotton mill in South Africa that's left. And so I warped the weft is a wool, a pure wool yarn. So you can't see the warp yarn at all. Here's another one. And another one just with spots. That was quite fun. And then you get a weaving construction that's also weft dominant, weft faced, called Krokbragd, and that is a Norwegian style weaving, and they use that for wall hangings and to cover their beds, because it's very thick and very dense. So it will definitely be very warm. And they usually use bright colors for that type of weaving, because the winters were so cold and grey and snowy. So the woven wall hangings and bed covers brought some color into their homes. So I started then with this one. I started with one type of yarn. So that's a three shaft weaving. So you have to take a dowel and then you make a third shaft with the dowel that you lift up. But I'm still exploring all those techniques. So I started with this, but I think the yarn was too soft, and then I went to the other yarn, but I had to take a double, because we warp through the 5 reed, so the thin satin cotton was quite far spaced. There was there was not a lot of, the warps were spaced quite. You can all try and help me now. I can't find the word. But with a 5 reed, you've only got 5 dents per inch. So I think that is 10. So that will be 5 ends, 5 ends per inch, I think. Where, for example, a 10 reed, 10 dents per inch will give you 10 warp ends per inch. So that's the difference that you will get. So then that's quite hard work, and you will weave for a whole day, and then you will only have a little piece like this, because you have to beat it down quite hard. But this is some of the traditional patterns in Krokbragd. But then I decided that I would like to try and do it through the 7.5 DPI reed, so that the warp ends are a little bit closer to each other. And then I just tried the plain weft faced weaving again with only 2 shafts. And I did this little, whatever you can call it, it's just a sampler piece I did. And you can also see, you can't see the warp threads at all, because you still have to beat it down quite hard. And I also used some pure wool that's now sadly no longer available. So it's the same yarn that I used for this, but this was through the 5 reed, and these weft yarns, I used them doubled up, and this was through the 7.5 reed and single. I think this is the right side. So because it's wool, it's very heat resistant, can't burn. So you can put a warm pan or a hot pot onto this, and it's not supposed to get damaged at all. I like this technique a lot, and I will definitely do it again. I've got a book that I should show you sometime, that I ordered from Loot, with all the patterns in it. I don't want to say the name now. I did put it on my Instagram. I can't remember the exact name of the book now. So this was fun to do. So this is then a new technique that I got familiar with and that I want to explore much more on my Ashford Knitters looms. Phew, I think that's about it, and we are into 40 minutes already. That's quite a lot of progress I made. I was on a whip busting mission again. I wanted to finish everything or frog it. I did frog one or two things again. So on my needles, I don't really have a lot, but I can quickly show you what I'm busy with. I'm something, I think I didn't show you this at all. It's something I started also quite a while back. It's another corner to corner linen stitch, but this time with 2 strands of lace singles, merino lace singles. And I'm just doing 1 square. So all that I've left is this part of the 1 corner. Then I'm finished, done with it. And I'm also thinking of making it into a cushion cover. I've got one of these small little cheapy cushions that you can buy from Metro or any such fabric store. I think it's a 40 by 40 centimeters. The 45 by 45 is too big. So what I'm thinking of doing is let the corners, quickly see if I can show you more or less what I have in mind. So this is not perfect, but I think it will make a very nice cushion. And then on the back, I will join it like this. And I might leave one, I can always leave one, put a button on it, or I'll see what I will do, not close it, completely close it so that you can take it off to wash. And I think this will make a very pretty cushion. So that is a project that's almost done. And I'm really using little bits and scraps of merino lace singles, 2 strands held together, and then I change one of them, and I'm using my Clover 3.25 clover hook. So that is something that's almost done. So next time I will definitely be able to show you the finished cushion. And then other thing that I can show you, I don't know, you last time, I think it was the last episode I had on my Springtee that I knitted. The recipe is also on my Facebook page. It's very simple. You start with about 140 stitches and you do raglan increases until you had the depth that you want, and then you take your sleeve stitches, put them on hold, and you knit the body. You can do some increases in the body, and then you can just do a small little edge for the sleeves, and then you have a very lovely summer top. So someone said, okay, they are going to knit it with a art flower from Elite. I think it's Elite Yarn, art flower yarn cake. So I bought a Scheepjes wool, a very beautiful blue, white, almost white, going into grey and then going into blue. and I started it yesterday and I couldn't stop before I had a yarn change, of course. So I've got quite some, well, I think it's better to show it like this. This is what I have so far, and you can see a very, very delicate grey, subtle color change happening there. And I do love these, the way the increases is done. I just do a knit front back, knit one, slip your marker, and a knit front back. And I omit the stockinette little roll here, and I just did 5 rows of the moss stitch edge. Knit one, pull one, and then your second row is pull one, knit one. And yeah, it's going very well. It feels very nice. I've tried it, and I like the way it fits me. I again started with 140 stitches. If you are using, I don't think you will probably use a finer yarn. This is also a fingering, and I'm using, for the cotton, I'm using a 3.25. Started with a 3mm, and now I'm on the 3.25. For the Springtee that I did in the merino singles, I used a 3.5 for my main, for the body. But if you would like it a little bit more open, you can start with 150 stitches. If you want it a little bit higher up, you can start with 130 stitches. There's really no, and then you can just do your divide for a little bit differently for your front, back, and sleeves. You can, if mine is 50 in the front, 50 in the back, and 20 for each sleeve. So if you add 10 stitches, you can put 2 extra for the 2 sleeves, so that's 4 stitches, 3 in the front and 3 in the back. Or to make it a little bit easier, if you want even numbers, you can add 12 stitches. So there's really, it doesn't have to be that perfect. And I think if you have done this once, you will realize how easy it is to knit a sweater or a summer tee or anything that will fit your preferences. If you want it for winter, just a plain raglan sweater for winter, you can start with only 100 stitches. So it will all depend on with how many stitches you start, how high up the neck will be, and then from there on you will just do your, if you start higher up with less stitches, you will just have to do more increases to get to the correct depth of your raglan before you put the sleeve stitches on hold. So that is that, and I'm really happy with how this is going. I like it a lot, and I think that's about it. I've done a little bit of work on my the Fair Isle scarf that doesn't have a name, only a number. Where's the picture? That is the kit that I bought in Norway, and it's by Permin. And the kit number was 893428. And the yarn is called Esther, and it's a cotton wool blend. I must honestly say I love the feeling of this yarn, and it's very light, and I do love it a lot. But it's not the easiest yarn to knit color work with because it's actually quite sticky. You won't say that from a yarn with cotton, but I think the wool that's mixed with the cotton is probably non-superwash. So that makes it a little bit sticky, but it's still fine, and I still enjoy knitting with it quite a lot. And this is how far I am. I think last time I showed you I was here. So I've done this whole part. And I will move my stitch marker up to here. So hopefully next time I see you, I will have made some progress. I really hope so. But if not, that's also fine. But I love how it looks. It's a lot of knitting, slow knitting for me. But that's why I want to do it in little segments. So this part I did all in one, so that I can stay in the rhythm of doing this color work. So I did most of this in one, not in one sitting, but over a few days, but working only on this. Just to stay in the rhythm, and because you start to get to know how the yarns, where the yarns go and where the colors go. So it's a good idea to do one pattern repeat, just work on that. So I think what is going to follow now is another star, but in different colors. So I will probably, this will be when I sit down and make this my project, I will work on this for a few days, only on this till I've finished that pattern. And then I can put it aside again and do something else. So that is how I like to work on this scarf. But this is more or less, in the beginning when I showed you this the first time, I showed you I've got two charts that I have to work from, and I must do the one chart, do the other chart, and then I must do the reverse of both. So I've done probably then by now a quarter of the scarf, because I've done one complete chart, and I'm now going over to the second chart, that will also be this whole part. Pretty, I love it. And I'm happy to be finally knitting on this kit that I bought 2 years ago in Norway, and thinking of the beautiful little town that I bought it in. I think it was the oldest town in Norway, Fredrikstad, and we went there on our last day in Norway. So I like knitting on this and having some happy memories of a very, very happy trip before COVID. And that is all. Well, this was a long one because it took me a while, and I'm not going to make any promises again, because that doesn't seem to be working. I don't seem to be able to keep up with my promises. So I will see you when the time is good to make a podcast episode. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you will have a lovely weekend and some lovely crafting time. And if you don't mind, please like my video and leave a comment. I do like to see your comments and chat with you here on YouTube. And yeah, hopefully I will see you before the end of the year. That I will definitely be able to do. I'm sure of that. Goodbye.